Scott Voorhees.
Sid Dinsdale has joined us here in the studio, and Mr. Dinsdale, it's a pleasure to see you. I've seen you at some
nice to be here.
Charitable events over the years, and
you bet.
And you recently decided you wanted to be a U.S. Senator. Why would you do that to yourself and your family?
Well, September 16th, I announced my hometown of Palmer, and then went to Lincoln, and Tom Osborne introduced me and endorsed me, and I went to Elkhorn, where we've lived for 20-some years. I want to try to make a difference, and I think I'm a real unusual candidate because of my resume. As you say, been extensively involved in the nonprofit world, served on a number of boards, still do, as my wife does. Been in agriculture all my life, still am through my brother, and then spent my career 37 years in community banking. So,
and what can a banker bring to Washington, D.C.? What certain acumen and values does a banker bring to D.C.?
Well, like any community banker, any business, as far as that goes, I've made payroll, made budgets, and I see the unintended consequences of bad laws, bad regulation, the government overreach by many of the agencies of government that interfere with our everyday challenges of a business. So I'm somebody who's done those things, dealt with those consequences, and I'm going back there for 2 terms only. I'll self-term limit. I think that's the difference also.
Yeah, Congressman Lee Terry said that once, too, so be careful about the promises you make in terms of how long you want to serve.
Yeah.
You might get in there and decide, hey, this is pretty good. I never want to leave.
I don't think that's going to happen. I'm a Nebraskan. I want to come back to Nebraska and live out my years here.
Okay. Where is home for you?
I live in Elkhorn. That's where our 3 kids went to school. We've got 3 married children and 3 grandchildren and another one on the way.
But you're from small-town Nebraska, aren't
Palmer,
you?
yes. Yeah.
That counts.
Yeah, 400 people, 30 miles north of Grand Island, or as we're fond of saying, Grand Island's 30 miles south of Palmer.
Palmer,
yes.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
And you've been in the banking business with Pinnacle Bank now for how long?
Right. Since 1978, I was at a bank in Lincoln before I joined our company, and we've got about 130 locations in 8 states and employ about 1,600 people in our banking business.
We had Ben Sass on this program a couple days ago at this time, talked to Shane Osborne yesterday on the Good Morning Show. This is part of a crowded field of Republicans looking to get the nomination for Senate in Nebraska. What do you feel sets you apart from these other gentlemen?
Well, I guess my resume and my experience, employing people, helping businesses get financed, helping people buy a house, being involved with Nebraskans every day of my career across the state, and helping them pursue the American dream.
Mm-hmm. Up to this point in the program, we've focused our attention here on the show on the senseless tragedy in North Omaha yesterday. A young girl was killed, and a lot of the conversation has come down on arguments that D.C. has had in the last few years. So let me pick your brain about a few of these things. The first one being gun legislation. Where do you stand on, do we need new gun laws? Are there common sense gun laws that Sid Dinsdale approves of? What do you think about these issues?
I think we just enforce the gun laws we have on the books. That one, that's haunting all of us. That story was just awful. And I just can only imagine. And I know there's a lot of efforts underway in North Omaha, but we've just got to do better up there.
The next issue here is less about one piece of legislation. It's about changing a mindset. And I think that there can be public policy to move people in that direction. What do we do about these entitlement programs in this country? And I'm talking not just about things like food stamps and welfare, but it seems like people say, yeah, we got to cut people's entitlements programs. What about raising the Social Security or Medicare age? Absolutely not. What about some of your deductions when it comes to your yearly taxes? Absolutely. Don't touch my stuff. What about business incentives? No, do not touch any of that stuff. So when you talk about entitlements, people automatically assume you're talking about poor people living in poorer neighborhoods. That's not the case. Entitlement has gripped this nation at every turn. What do we do about it?
Well, I think we've got to make some tough decisions, and we do have to make some cuts. I mean, we've made promises we've got to keep on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, but at some point, at some age, we've got to cut back on those and face the music, because you're right on the budget. We can talk about all the other things combined, and if you don't touch entitlements, you really don't do anything. But the best way to address a lot of these issues with our economy is jobs. And everywhere I go across the state, I'm listening to what people are telling me, and almost without exception, every time I meet with a manufacturing company in Nebraska, they're looking for tradesmen. And we've got to lift up and embrace the trades. My golly, we need tradesmen everywhere I go, electricians, plumbers, welders. So in Nebraska, at least, there's a lot of opportunity for jobs, but people got to be willing to move to where those jobs are. And that's one of the challenges with the unemployment benefits package. We're taking away some of that incentive, and I know it's not easy to move from A to B, but that's where the jobs are.